Hi guys, welcome back to the mat. For this tutorial, we are breaking down sun salutations, Surya Namaskar. The Sanskrit word Surya means sun, Namaskar means to bow. So bowing to the sun. In this tutorial, we'll be covering Surya Namaskar A and its variations and modifications. Surya Namaskar B and Surya Namaskar C are slightly different, and we'll cover those in a separate tutorial. For this one, we'll be covering just Surya Namaskar A. You will not need any props for this tutorial. All you'll need is your yoga mat. So go ahead, unroll your mat, and let's get started. So to start, I'm going to have you just watch me do one round of Surya Namaskar A, and just take a look at what it looks like, what the movements are, and what the breath sounds like as I move through it. And after that, we'll go through the various variations and modifications, and we'll kind of break it down step by step. So you can sort of sit back and relax and just watch what this looks like. So that is your Surya Namaskar A. So we'll start to break that down a little bit. A couple of notes before we start to break that down. The first is that in Surya Namaskars, we are linking breath to movement. So as we move through sun salutations, it's more about the transitions really than it is about the poses. So the focus really is on the movement from one pose into the next, more so than on the poses themselves. So that's the first thing, is we are linking breath to movement, and you sort of want the breath to initiate the movement. So as we move from Tadasana, mountain pose, into Urdhva Hastasana up here, we sort of want the breath to begin and then the movement to begin. So it's the breath that's sort of initiating movement. Something to keep in mind as we move through these sun salutations. So let's take a look at first sun stretches. So sun stretches is sort of a half sun salutation, and it's pretty much everything that happens while you're still standing on your feet. So for your sun stretch, you can go ahead and join me here in Tadasana mountain pose, standing up nice and tall. On your inhale, you'll lift the arms overhead, Urdhva Hastasana. On your exhale, you'll hinge at the hips, leading with the chest, bringing a bend into the knees as you fold all the way forward, dropping crown of the head towards the earth. On your inhale, hands can come onto shins or fingertips on the earth if you're a bit more open, as you inhale, lifting halfway, and exhaling to fold back into your forward fold. On your inhale, you'll come all the way to stand, leading with the chest once again, so you come up with a flat back, arms lift, and exhale, hands into heart center, and release them back into Tadasana. So that is a sun stretch. Sun stretches are a great way to sort of warm up for sun salutations. So that is sort of our first variation. Our second variation is one that's going to incorporate a swing through. So we'll be adding a little bit on to the sun stretch. So you can go ahead and once again join me in Tadasana Mountain Pose. So all of the variations that we're moving through are going to start the same way. You're going to stand Mountain Pose, inhale to lift the arms, exhale to fold forward, inhale to lift halfway, lengthen the spine, and then it'll start to get a little bit different as we move through the different variations. So here we're going to come into our swing through variation. So Tadasana Mountain Pose. Inhale, arms lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, lift halfway, lengthen the spine. On your exhale, bring the palms onto the earth and step back into downward facing dog. On your inhale, you're going to come forward, swing the chest all the way through into upward facing dog. You can either stay on the toes like this, or you can flip onto the tops of the feet, coming into your upward facing dog. Thighs are lifted off the earth, legs are active, core is active. And then you'll exhale back, pulling the belly up into downward facing dog. And you'll take 3 to 5 breaths in your downward facing dog before making your way back up to the top of the mat. Once you reach the top of the mat, you will inhale to lengthen the spine, lifting halfway. Exhale, fold forward. On your inhale, you'll come all the way up to stand. Flat back brings you up, arms lift. And exhale, releasing the hands. So that is your swing through variation. It's a great variation to take if you are trying to avoid plank pose or lowering the chest towards the earth, which we are about to get into. So we'll come into this third variation. And in this third one, we are going to lower knees, chest, and chin, and then open into baby cobra or cobra pose. We have covered those poses in separate tutorials, individual tutorials, and if you'd like to check those out, I will link to them below. For this, we'll just be putting them together. So go ahead, meet me in Tadasana Mountain Pose. Inhale, lift the arms, Urdhva Hastasana. Exhale, hinge at the hips, fold forward, Uttanasana. Inhale, half lift, Ardha Uttanasana. As you exhale, bring the palms to the earth and step back into a plank pose. Take an inhale here in your plank. And as you exhale, you'll lower the knees, then the chest and the chin to the earth. Inhale, slide forward, coming into either baby cobra or pressing into the hands more firmly for cobra pose. And exhale to lift the hips up and back, downward facing dog. Once again, you'll take 3 to 5 breaths here in your downward facing dog. And then make your way to the top of the mat. You can walk the feet up. You can step one foot between the hands and then the other. You can hop forward, which we'll get to in a minute. On your inhale, lift halfway, lengthen the spine. Exhale, fold forward, crown of the head drops towards the earth. On your inhale, lifting all the way to stand with a flat back, lifting the arms, and exhaling to release the arms. So that is the variation with knees, chest, and chin, and cobra or baby cobra. The next variation we'll come into will look very similar. It will include lowering the chest all the way to the earth, so it'll be sort of a modified chaturanga instead of knees, chest, and chin. So starts the exact same way. Tadasana Mountain Pose. Inhale, arms lift, Urdhva Hastasana. Exhale, fold forward, Uttanasana. Inhale, half lift, Ardha Uttanasana. As you exhale, palms to the earth, step back, plank pose. Take an inhale here. And as you exhale, lower the knees, and then the elbows pull back towards the torso as you lower the chest all the way to the earth. Untuck the toes. Inhale, coming into baby cobra or lifting a little bit higher for Cobra Pose. And as you exhale, coming into Adho Mukha Svanasana, downward facing dog. 3 to 5 breaths. And then making your way to the top of the mat. Taking an inhale to lift halfway, Ardha Uttanasana. Exhaling to fold, Uttanasana. Inhale, come all the way up to stand, lifting the arms, Urdhva Hastasana. And exhale to release hands, come through heart center, and release arms by the sides of the body into Tadasana. Okay, we've got one more. Sort of like 1.5. So our next variation is that full expression of Surya Namaskar, where we lower halfway into Chaturanga and then open the chest into upward facing dog. So it's what you saw me do at the very beginning. So we'll go through it once together, and then I will talk a little bit about the breath. So meeting me into Tadasana Mountain Pose. Inhale to lift the arms. Exhale, fold. Inhale, lift, lengthen the spine. Exhale, plank pose. Take an inhale here. Exhale, shift forward, lower halfway, Chaturanga. Inhale, flip over the feet, upward facing dog. And exhale, hips up and back, downward facing dog. And then making your way to the top of the mat. Inhaling to lift halfway. Exhale, fold. Inhale, up to stand, arms lift. And exhale, hands through heart center, and release. So that is your full expression of Surya Namaskar A. Chaturanga is an incredibly difficult posture. If you would like to see that tutorial, I will also link to that below. Please take any of the modifications, variations offered here in your sun salutations as you build up strength for Chaturanga. You might not be ready for it just yet, and that is totally okay. The last variation of Surya Namaskar A that I will show you is the hop back and hop forward. So it's a hop back into Chaturanga and then a hop to come back forward from downward facing dog. I will say that if you are practicing this jump back, you want to jump back straight into Chaturanga, so the arms will be bent. You are not jumping back into plank pose. It puts a lot of pressure and strain on the joints jumping back into straight arms. So you want to jump back into bent elbows. The other thing I will say about this is that it also requires an incredible amount of strength. I would say that you should be comfortable lowering halfway into Chaturanga and then pressing back up into plank pose a few times, what is known as Chaturanga push-ups. You should be comfortable doing a few of those before you start working on jumping back. Build that foundation of strength before you start throwing movement at it to keep you safe. But so you know what it looks like, this is it. So Tadasana Mountain Pose. Inhale, again, the arms lift. This part's all the same. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, lengthen. And then this time, plant the palms. Exhale, hop back, Chaturanga. Inhale, upward facing dog. And exhale, downward facing dog. You'll take 3 to 5 breaths in your downward facing dog. And when you're ready to make your way to the top of the mat, you will inhale to look between the hands, bend the knees, and exhale, hop the feet. Inhale, lengthen the spine. Exhale, fold. Inhale, up to stand. And exhale to release. Tadasana. The other thing that I will note is a note about the breath. So in this tutorial, you've heard me cue you when we're here that you inhale to lift halfway, exhale, step back to plank. And then here, I'm having you take another inhale in your plank pose, and then exhale to lower however you want to lower towards the earth. I like to teach it this way and cue it this way because I believe in the importance of plank pose. It is a great pose for building strength in the arms and the shoulders, the wrists. But in traditional sun salutations, there is no breath for plank pose. So you saw me demo it at the beginning. There is one single exhale for stepping back into plank and lowering towards the earth. So that you know what that looks like, if you're here in your forward fold, you inhale, lift halfway, and then exhale, step back, still exhaling to lower, and then you inhale, opening the chest. So when I break down sun salutations, and often when I teach, if you've watched some of my videos or if you've been to any of my classes, you have probably heard me cue an inhale in plank pose. And that is something that I do because I like plank pose, and I think it gets kind of gypped, you know? And it also allows you to stay more steady in the breath, which really is what we're here for. So that is just a quick note about the breath. If you are in other classes or in other videos, you will most likely hear all of that movement cued as one breath. The step back and the lower is one breath. And obviously, if you are jumping back, that will be one exhale because there is no plank pose then in that variation. So just a little note about that so that it doesn't throw you off. I realize that I do add that extra breath in there, and so that might be a little bit confusing for some of you. And that is our Surya Namaskar tutorial. I hope this has been helpful. If you have any questions about any of these poses, please feel free to post them down in the comments below. I will make sure to link to the individual posture tutorials. If you have a question about any one of the individual poses, those should help you out. Thanks so much for joining me on the mat today. Have a beautiful rest of your day. Namaste.